back to Furry Trash, the podcast for furries by furries. I'm your host, Ink, and welcome back to another episode of the show. Today I'm with Annie, aka Annie Boxer Dog. Annie is the chairman of London Furs, and today he's on to tell me all about the ins and outs of London Furs. Hello, Annie.
Hello everybody. Hey Ink, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on here.
And thank you for coming on. And first of all, you're very, very welcome. I just said to you, it's been a long time since I've been recording, so I'm a little bit nervous, but you look, it'll be grand. So Annie, tell people...
We'll get through it.
We'll be grand, we'll sort it out. Tell people who you are and what you do.
So I'm Annie Boxer. I am currently the London Furs chairman. That means that I help run and a chief sort of organizer of the London Fur Meets, which are one of the biggest meets in, I would say, in the UK, if not, globally, of the furry fandom, I guess. It's something that's been sort of close and dear to me for a lot of years. I think I started going to London Furs in 2009, and that was very much as I say young. I was 22 when I first started going to meets, and I was nervous as hell. And yeah, just got involved with helping to organise the meets, working with the teams of people, the committee and stuff as it was then. And now, yeah, I'm very much involved in sort of head of organising it all.
So you're the boxer in charge.
Boxer in charge, sort of in charge. I get various orders from other people, and Annie, stop doing this, stop doing that. We need to do this, we need to do that. But yeah, I mean, London Furs. It's important to point out that London Furs is not just something that I've created or that I can solely run. London Furs has always been a part of a committee of people, and I'm surrounded by some amazing, talented people that all have various skill sets that all combine to produce London Furs as it is now. And yeah, it's actually a pleasure to work with everyone involved in London Furs and who have been involved throughout London Furs throughout the time it started as an event. It really is it's a pleasure to work with all the guys and girls that have been involved in it. We just kind of we all have areas of expertise that kind of combine to make life easier for everyone, but also we all put the work in, and you never feel like you're solely responsible for everything. You feel like there definitely is a team effort, and it's an important thing. I mean, the London Furs of itself as an event is very much its own thing. London Furs is like, it's the brand of London Furs is kind of something that we really try to promote. It's never about an individual, one single person. It's about the meet as a whole. So whoever you are, whatever you do, whatever your beliefs and your passions are within the fandom, you can go to a London meet and feel like you are a part of London Furs. It's not just solely something for one individual or a group of people. You don't have to necessarily be from London to be a part of London Furs. You can feel that when you attend London Furs, you're a part of what London Furs is, and that to us is the crucial thing, really.
When did you join the furry fandom, and how did you join it?
Well, I joined the furry fandom around the same sort of time. I had, some of my friends previously, well, they're still my friends actually, it's a bit rude. Yeah, a good friend of mine, Steve Fox, who still goes to meets and is still part of the fandom. We met on like a video game forum, everything was forums when I first started on the internet and stuff. And we knew each other for a chunk of time, and there was also a very good friend of mine from California called Furry, who both, when I first met them, we were just into the video games. It was just like a gaming thing. But eventually I found out they were both furries. And at first I was like, what the hell is this? You know, like this is not this is very, very odd. But I love you guys, you know, I feel like, you know, I can just, you know, accept it as for what it is, a bit strange or whatever. But then the next thing I knew, for a year or so, you know, they started hanging out and actually met each other in real life. And obviously they were involved in furry forums and such. And I felt a little bit left out. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a bit left out. But I started exploring fur affinity and kind of not stalking them, but kind of just seeing what they were up to and things. And then I sort of thought, do you know what? You know, why not make a persona and you know, see where things go really. And that's kind of how I got into the fandom, is that I decided to make Annie a very simple boxer dog because boxer dogs at the time, I was kind of looking at breeds of dogs and I was like, boxers are really cool, they have a high energy, you know, super friendly, sort of derpy dogs. I thought that's a bit like me, you know, I like being friendly, like socializing, like meeting people. So maybe if I'm like an approachable guy, I'm not like a scary type of dog, you know, like a Rottweiler or whatever, or not I don't even, you know, I'm a dog person, put it that way. So
you're a dog person, both figuratively and literally.
Exactly that. And I remember the first bit of art I got of Annie, kind of when I was, I guess, designing his persona, I sent a picture of a boxer dog from Google to the artist. And I was like, I love these markings. These are the sort of markings I like, and the colors, you know, I love this boxer red color. He needs to be simple, but I would like to see sort of white here and blah, blah, you know. And I think the artist just laughed in that it was just kind of so simple because, you know, I think not that it's a bad thing. I love some personas have got really intense designs, and I think sometimes I just think about artists when they get a reference sheet and it's meant like it's insane, like out there. They must think like, oh god, here we go again. But it's nice when they see Annie, they're just like, oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of how Annie was created and how I got into the fandom, and then being online and stuff, and then getting to meet people. Steve and I kind of fell out of touch as he moved over to America and was sort of hanging out with all the furries and stuff over there. And I was kind of just mainly still online and still gaming and stuff on PlayStation and things. And I took a good friend of mine, my best friend Sophie, and I was like, can you come with me to this event? You know, I love Google London and furries, and that's how I kind of found London Furs. And the first one I went to actually was when the meets were at a place called Saint in St. Paul's, and it's a tiny little bar. I mean, it must be a 100 capacity or 80 capacity bar, and it's a, you know, the fursuiters, when at the meets back then, there'd be like 5 to 10 fursuits at most, and that would be a busy meet. I mean, the fursuiters were getting changed in the same bar as everyone was buying drinks and stuff. But anyway, the first meet I went to, I got there and I just felt completely out of place. I didn't have a badge or anything like that, and I tried talking to a few people, and no one wanted to talk to me. It was a real struggle. I bought a drink at the bar, was drinking a little bit, and then tried to buy someone a drink and they weren't interested, and I just ended up leaving, and I was like, wow, that was rubbish. So I spoke to some people online after that. I can't even remember what platform we were using, to be honest, to talk. I think it might have been on UK Furs Forum or something like that. And we were chatting, and I just said, you know, I tried going to a London meet and it was like the worst experience I think I've ever had. I don't think this thing's for me. And they said, no, come again, try again, like come and see us, and we'll be, you know, I'll be there from a certain time, you know, try taking someone with you. So I took my best friend Sophie with me to the next one, and we just got super drunk and met a load of people. I was a bit more outgoing, you know, I felt more confident being around a friend, and yeah, just got talking. And from then on, I was every 3 weeks, I was going to London Furs, and was watching it grow and develop. And I got to a point where I sort of said, I'd love to be involved. At that point, I was mixing as a DJ and I would produce music and such. I sort of said to them, "Oh, if you ever do parties and things, I'd love to DJ, or would love to help out." And as the meets grew and grew, I started going in 2009, and then in 2011, I joined as a fully fledged staff member, helping just organise things, really.
What, 11 years of staff membership?
Yes,
Yikes.
yes. Oh my God, yeah. I didn't think of it like that. It's funny, actually, the time, everyone says it, time flies, but it does, it really does fly.
You mentioned there in your first story about the first event you went to, you didn't have a badge or anything. Online, lots of people have photographs and vlogs of them being in fursuit and stuff. Is there any quote requirements to be at London Furs, i.e. do you have to have a fursuit, do you have to have a badge, do you have to have a tail, that kind of stuff? Maybe people who haven't been to meets before.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never been to a meet before, and it can be a scary experience, and London Furs in particular are a big old meet. I mean, now at midday we have like 130 people queuing outside to get in at the start of an event, and that's like the start. And throughout the day, people will roll up. I mean, our numbers recently have been going up to 340 people, that are coming to the meets in the day. And I mean, even a meet with 20 people is daunting for someone. So I'd say if it is your first meet that you're coming to, and if that meet's going to be London Furs, or whichever meet it's going to be, first, the answer to your question is no. Obviously, you don't need a fursuit. By all means, you don't even really need a persona. If it's something you're just coming to explore and just come to socialize and meet people and see if you like it, and see a fursuit for your first time, you don't necessarily need any of those things. But I always recommend, whenever we get a lot of emails from people that are saying this is it's going to be my first meet, I always say to them, bring a badge with your persona on or with your name on, because something that I've always found, and since that first day learning, is that a great conversation starter with people is, what is your persona? I mean, I've talked about Annie as in this interview with yourself, and it's a great way to sort of understand people and to learn about people's personalities. And it is quite an interesting connection between, a canine or a feline or a dragon persona, or whatever your persona is, whatever type of animal you've chosen, your personality is kind of reflected within that. Because in some ways, people would say that their personas are kind of, they're a part of themselves. It's something that you've created yourself, and it's a way you would like yourself to be seen by other people. So, I mean, everyone's always happy to talk about their personas because it's a part of them and it's something they're proud of. I mean, that's how I would see it. But so going back to the question, it's very good to have a badge or something with your persona on, or with your name. And I mean, if you're looking for a conversation starter when you're first nervous going to a meet, asking someone what their persona is, what the persona name is, or seeing their badge and asking questions about their persona is a great way to sort of break that ice. The whole thing of fursuits and I mean, personas and badges, essentially fursuits, you don't need a fursuit to go to a fur meet. For me, fursuiting came later on, as my time of being a furry. I joined, like I said, I joined in 2009, and I got my first version of Annie in 2012. The first meet I would have gone to about 20 meets, probably about 10 to 12 meets prior to ever having a fursuit or considering having a fursuit at a meet. You definitely don't need a fursuit to to go to a meet, that's for sure.
Because whenever I do interviews, I always get asked, like, what's the quote requirement to be a furry? And I always kind of stress the fact that you don't need a fursuit to be a furry. But I know when you look online, especially on YouTube, because people vlog London Furs vlogs, which is insane, by the way. Like, people that go to those meets, like, here's me over in Ireland, and the biggest meet. Well, you can tell I can speak today very well. And the biggest fur meet that I was ever at was like maybe 40 people, and that was in
Mm,
Abbey Lakes back in October. And I'm
mm.
pretty sure if that wasn't the biggest, it was definitely the second biggest Irish Furs meet so far on record. So the fact that like there was
Wow.
300 people at London Furs meet is just flabbergasting to me.
Oh, it's insane. It really is. And it still blows my mind. I mean, the fact the amount of people queuing up to get in at midday is just, it completely, yeah, it's staggering to me. And like I said, when I was going originally, you know, you wouldn't get more than 40, 50 people. I mean, the meets have grown massively. And one of the main ways they have grown is by the amount of people that have fursuits now, which is not an issue, but fursuiters take up a lot of space and require a lot of resource, i.e., you know, you need to make sure there's water available, you need to make sure there's a safe, secure space for them to change and to store fursuit cases and such. And I mean, you know, to get onto the point of venues and venue organizing meets and stuff, it's something you definitely have to consider now more than you did originally, and more than the London Furs Committee when I first started going to meets had to worry about too much, because you know they would end up with eight or nine suits, let's say, at a meet, and that would be, wow, look at all these like suitors. But I did a count the other day of one of the because we do a photo shoot at the start of our fursuit walk, and I like using that as a reference point to see how many fursuits are there. And not all the fursuits go on that photo shoot or walk. And I'm counting nearly 100 fursuits in that fursuit photo. So think about 100 bags and 100 people, and you know, in one room, in one space. It's crazy. It really is. Press contacts quite a lot, press requests, sorry, quite a lot via our email and such. And our thing is always, we'll try and do them every now and then to kind of make sure what's going out to the TV or going out to media is done in a way that we're not, you know, seen as crazy animal people, or, you know, people that are obsessed with, you know, as they put it on this morning, you know, it is not a fetish, it is not a fetish. But it was very much, we tried to orchestrate the narrative really. And the other two that were with me did an amazing job. Dexy was the other suitor as well, and Ed were awesome with me, and they were both part of the committee as well at the time. Sadly, both of them are no longer at the committee, but both are still around. And it was interesting. We were sat in a little sort of green room, because the This Morning interview bit is in a completely separate room, and you're in a tiny little room. And there was someone else that was on the TV show that was taking loads of benefits or whatever. And I think it was this person takes, you know, steals benefits from the country. And it was like, these are furries. So we're sat waiting to go on, and we're all in fursuit, just kind of like, this is a bit crazy, you know. Then we go in, and it's it's us doing they put the stuff that was going to go on the TV before we go on. And one of the things was like, is this a sexual fetish? Is this something that, you know, do these people like dressing as animals and having sex? And we were like, hold on, you can't put that on the TV. Like, what's wrong with you? We're like, we'll walk away right now. We don't care about this. We'll leave this studio right now. And Dexy particularly was very animated and just like, no way, absolutely not. You're not putting that up there. If you do that, we're not doing the interview. And they changed it quickly. And it is the media really try and bully you into putting forward the narrative that they want. But the be all and end all of it is that you can stop that narrative from happening if you're confident enough and brave enough. And I mean, having those two there with me was an amazing thing. And I mean, I've only ever heard really nice things about that interview. You know, people have said, you know, oh, people ask about furry, and I show them that video and it makes them feel like it's a normal thing, you know, thank you for doing that. And it's similar in that I've done a few newspaper articles and magazines. I think I was in a well-known sort of women's magazine. I can't remember, the Take a Break or whatever they're called, you know, one of these 50p gossip mags. And we were in that, and again, they were like, this is where I first saw you as a fursuit. This is where I first saw Furry, and how I broached it with my parents, because you were there and you did that and you represented us in that sort of way that gave us the confidence to normalize it. But it's nice that people do give you that positive feedback from the TV appearance, particularly, because it always makes me quite proud that I did it with two amazing people that actually, under that pressure, didn't crack, and if anything, you know, showed their confidence and showed their beauty as people, as much as we wanted to. And it's key, you know, that's something that people now that join the fandom might see, like yourself, and that's it. And to me, it resonates with me. It's like that's so cool that's how you kind of saw, and how we get to talk today. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's really cool.
So it all goes full circle then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
So you mentioned you were in some magazine coverage and things. A lot of people say that a picture can paint 1,000 words. Last year for Pride, London had Pride London on, and London Furs ended up making a feature in it. What was that like, and people's general reaction to that project?
So it was interesting, because with London Furs, again, going back to the whole public view of London Furs as a brand, for example, as a meet, or as representing furries in the capital city of the country. A lot of press is the first place they go when they Google furries, will be Furries London, or Furry, you know, because their companies are based in London, or they'll say London, you know, and we come up, and our drive has never been, you know, we're a 16+ event outside of our party events, and we've always tried to keep as much to a family friendly sort of event, but more an event that's a safe space for people to go to. So when London Pride first approached us, there was a little bit of, we weren't sure whether it was the sensible thing to do, or whether, you know, whether we could be represented the wrong way. It'd be hard for us to control the narrative of why we were at a London Pride event. But as I was growing up as a teenager, I struggled with my sexuality, in that I'm bisexual, and I struggled accepting the gay side to myself. The people I hung around with, I know I don't speak to them anymore. We're not friends anymore, and it's not down to that, but maybe it was because I could never feel like I could be fully honest with them, or, you know, I struggled. And I never forget meeting one of my friends, Sophie's friends. I can't remember his name, but he was so confident in himself sexually and stuff, and they said, "Yeah, let's go to Pride. Let's go to London Pride." And I sort of thought, you know, I'm this tough guy, you know, I don't I don't want to, you know, don't really seem going to these events or whatever. But I remember standing on the, you know, in Oxford Circus and near Piccadilly, and just looking at the parade, and kind of seeing the movement of people, and the commitment and the pride of being who they are as people. And it changed me as a person, because I thought, these people, like, you can have this confidence, and you can go out and you can express yourself, and, you know, it doesn't have to be a shock value thing. It can just be, I'm marching today to just represent who I am as a person. I thought it was a beautiful thing. And it's you know, being mixed race as well. I grew up in a time where obviously racism is still a prevalent thing in the UK particularly, and in society. But, you know, I grew up in a time where I'd be called Black Annie, and you know, I say Annie, but my real name, obviously, and it would it would eat me up, and I've been called the N-word, and I've been called like a jungle bunny and things like this by like adults to like a teenager growing up, you know, like someone that's not fully confident or fully there yet. And it always, I used to be slightly ashamed of who I was as a person, not just who I was as a person sexually, but also the way I looked, the color of my skin and stuff. And having this, seeing the Pride March and seeing people not caring about that disgusting behavior, or that the way people can knock you down for being who you are as a person, and having the pride and the fucking balls to use up like a term, to go out and be like, this is me, this is who I am as a person. I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is like, fucking hell, this is incredible. You know, what an amazing thing. And the only thing I compare London Pride to is Notting Hill Carnival. Exactly the same thing. Notting Hill Carnival is, if you ever get the chance to go, you've got to go, because they closed down a whole borough of London. And just imagine the whole of London gathering as a massive street party, listening to music and dancing and enjoying the culture and enjoying each other and enjoying music and expression and costume and life. And that, having this amazing event in London was just a big thing. So obviously when they progressed, to go back to the original question, when they approached London Furs, I said, yeah, it'd be really cool to do. It'd be really, really cool to have us doing the march as well, and just giving people the shock value of seeing a bunch of fursuiters walking down Oxford Circus, you know, being proud of who they are and their sexualities, and giving the people another angle, and, you know, people being able to see that. It was a big thing. So the year before the lockdown year, last year, I think we've done it two marches now. And sadly, I've been working at both. My job is quite all encompassing. You know, I'm always out traveling and working and traveling and organizing stuff. So I missed out on the actual Pride marches, and it was an amazing thing to see the photos and stuff afterwards. You know, it brought such emotions out of me of like, yes, you know, we've done this. And after the first year, we got some knockbacks from people saying, you know, you shouldn't be promoting sexuality, you know, like this, you know, you're not a sex, you always say you're not a sexual event and blah, blah, blah. Then why are you going to a Pride march? And, you know, we stuck to our guns and did it again. And the second time we did the march was an amazing thing. We got great feedback from people. The organisers love us now. They're always in touch. And obviously we aim to do it again for 2020. But obviously Corona happened and we went into lockdown, and the guys got in touch with us and they said, oh, we want to, we're going to do this as a surprise, you know, don't tell anyone from your group, but just get some people that you know within your group, get some photos together, and we're going to put you up on the Piccadilly lights. And it was just like an amazing thing, even just watching the live stream and getting that out there, and seeing, I mean, furries up on Piccadilly Circus lights, like, wow, what an amazing thing to see and to be involved in. So Pride is something that's kind of always been, you know, it helps us get that narrative out there, gets us as a group out there, and not become this shocked secret society that we're not. We're a society of people that we want people to be involved. We want to make people smile. We want to make people happy. And that is, you know, London, we are proud to be part of the London Pride events. And I recommend any local meets and stuff, speak to your local Pride marches and be involved as well, because it's an important thing, and it will have effects on people's lives beyond anything you can perceive. It's a special thing. Yeah, very proud of it.
And I didn't even notice until right now, but I have a t-shirt on that says proud, proud, proud on it, and I didn't even notice.
Yes. Love it. Love it.
I love how we've
And it
tied
is
in Pride with Furry Pride and London Furs, and I'm sitting here like, I have forgot I was wearing this.
exactly smashed it.
Smashing. Well, Andy, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really do appreciate. My face is sore from smiling because I just keep imagining like fur meets and London Furs and like traveling, and like it's just making me so happy.
You have to come at some point.
At some point.
I have to say thank you so much for having me on, and your show's amazing. I have been listening to a lot of the episodes, and you've had some amazing guests on it, and I'm very happy to be a part of that list as well. And you're more than welcome to always come to London Furs or come down to visit London. Let us know when you're here and we'll catch a drink or something. Eh?
That sounds like a plan. Well, Annie, before we go, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram. My Twitter is Annie_boxer. But less of me. Go and look at London Furs. Just type in London Furs on Twitter. Follow the Twitter and the Instagram, and see the community, and come along. Come and check it out. Come and meet some people, and join our community, because it's what it's all about.
Sounds very exciting. And if you'd like to follow Furry Trash online, Instagram is furry.trashpod, Twitter is ftrashpod, and even on YouTube, the video is on Boxed Up Adventures. And thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you. Take care. See you later.